I'm Dr. Todd Finnerty, and here's what to expect from a telehealth disability psychological evaluation with me. I'm Psychologist Dr. Todd Finnerty, and I provide nexus letters and psychological evaluations for disability cases, including veterans disability cases. I used to be a contract C&P examiner, but I'm no longer on the dark side. It's just a terrible joke there. I also spent 19 years as an in-house reviewer on Social Security disability cases, helping to make decisions on those. And I also work on other disability programs like disability insurance, things like that. We're all grown-ups here, so we don't need all the weird legal disclaimers from me. But of course, these are my opinions. They're not necessarily VA policy, though many times maybe there should be, right? The videos are for infotainment purposes only. I'm a doctor, but I'm not your doctor. If I was your doctor, I'd tell you to get off the couch, turn off this video, get outside, get some sunshine, get some exercise. But, since I'm not your doctor, please watch the video all the way through to the end. Like, share, subscribe, right? So I do telehealth psychological evaluations for disability cases, especially veterans disability cases and Social Security disability cases. I'll also occasionally do like an independent medical exam, or, a psychological evaluation for like short-term disability case or something like that. But primarily veterans disability and Social Security disability. What's that like? If you're the person, I know sometimes you never know what to expect. But from the telehealth perspective is mostly what I do now. It's mostly what people want. In fact, I mostly just work from home now. Thus you see the home office behind me as opposed to the one that I used to pay for. So to start off with, I'll need to get your medical records. So I'll send you. We'll a lot of times we talk over the phone first, with a free consultation. We don't, for an exam, we don't always have the first free 15-minute phone conversation, but plenty of times it makes sense to have that conversation first to kind of see the chances that I might be able to help, because I know it's not exactly free to come talk to a psychologist, especially for an exam like this. The prices are publicly available on my website. I won't date the video by putting it out there, but I don't expect to raise the price anytime soon or anything though. Yeah, so truthfully, a lot of times that free 15-minute phone call, people tell me that it was longer than they spent with the contract examiner, CMP examiner, or something. I wish that was a joke. That happens a lot. But yeah, so typically, schedule an appointment. There's an online scheduler on my website, which you can schedule the free 15-minute phone call, or you can schedule the exam appointment. And to be honest, I block out 2 hours for that exam, but usually it only takes 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes a little over an hour. It depends on what's going on in your case, to be honest, and how talkative you are, those kinds of things. But I'll send I'll send a link to a special OneDrive folder that's just for you. It's HIPAA compliant. Microsoft runs the server and everything. And you can upload records there, or you can fax records to me, you can mail records to me. Some people are fine sending email attachments, whatever you're comfortable with from a security perspective. I won't send them by email unless you request that I do. But yeah, so I'll review the records before the exam appointment, so I'm fresh and kind of understand what's going on in the case. I'll also send you a link to some questionnaires to complete, different types of symptom questionnaires, things like that. So, rarely, sometimes those are usually brief questionnaires. Sometimes I'll also send you a longer psychological test, especially if it's
helpful in your case or questions that we have. So, I don't, sometimes there's like those 567 questions. It's not that long anymore, but 500 some question, 300 some question tests. Most of the time we won't do those, but sometimes we will. so I don't want to say never. So I wouldn't expect to have to take a really long questionnaire, but sometimes we do, depending on the situation. Let me think. I probably should have planned something before. I don't want to take up too much time of your time. We could say, why are you scheduling 2 hours for these appointments, Dr. Finnerty? Well, it's because you just go on all these random tangents. So yeah, and you'll get a link to a telehealth meeting. Generally, I'm using Microsoft Teams because the Microsoft Bookings program is what I'm using to schedule, and it will automatically schedule a Teams meeting and send you an email with the Teams meeting. But if Teams gives you problems, I can also send Zoom. I've got the HIPAA compliant version of Zoom. It's okay, secure for healthcare, supposedly, right? It should be. Let's not be. But yeah, and then we'll go through and just talk about how your mental health issues are impacting your life, impacting your ability to work, impacting your ability to deal with others, relate with others, function in the community, right? Adapt, deal with stress, concentrate, all of those kinds of issues, right? And it's just a conversation. Yeah, I'll probably ask a million questions, but you'll get to ask questions too if you want. There'll be lots of time. For a VA case, you know what I mean? I'll focus more on the DBQ and completing the DBQ form and what's on the mental disorders rating schedule that is currently in effect with the VA. And those types of symptoms will be important to be able to deal with that program from a Social Security perspective. Things for the mental listings, things in terms of their functional domains and the abilities needed for any job on a MRFC, a mental residual functional capacity, which is what they'll look at. So kind of, I'll use the wording that Social Security likes. And truthfully, I'm able to do both for people who maybe aren't able to work anymore. Like for a VA case and a Social Security case at the same time, happens all the time. Sometimes people can't work anymore. So, I'll write conclusions that will work for both programs, to be honest with you, and address it all. I've used to be a CMP examiner, and I also spent, around 19 years as an in-house consultant helping to make decisions on Social Security disability cases. So I'm pretty familiar with what we need to address. Yeah. And then, it usually doesn't, it's kind of depends on how backed up I am. It hopefully shouldn't take too long for me to get a report back to you, but I like, not to pick on contract examiners again, but like when they just do a DBQ form and the mental health history only has 2 sentences or 3 sentences, that's not a psych eval. No offense. It's, you know what I mean? You can't do a psych eval, in that brief of time. And and of course they're not being paid to do a psych eval. I hate to say it like that, so, so I'll have a detailed report that comes back to you. It takes a little bit of time, but, it shouldn't take hopefully that long. It'll get back in time when you need it. And then, so usually I'll send a down. I'll put it in the OneDrive folder with your records and give you share you a link to download it. So if you have questions, feel free to let me know. And of course, if we haven't really worked together, or we haven't talked or anything, maybe the best thing to do is to fill out the referral form. You put your information in. You can get a link to that at nexusletters.com, which is my website, or toddfinnerty.com. You know what I mean? It's TODDFINNERTY. Especially Social Security, it's not always veteran themed, but yeah, I'm happy to help answer any questions. Thanks.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you. Here's the part where I'm supposed to beg you to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and perhaps post a comment. But also, you can subscribe to my free email newsletter where I talk about my practice and my thoughts on things related to VA disability claims. You can subscribe to that on my website, nexusletters.com. And if a Nexus letter from a psychologist is something you or someone you know needs, you can get one from me at nexusletters.com. Thanks again.
One last thing I probably should have mentioned, but didn't mention. I'm a licensed psychologist in Ohio. I'm also a SIPAC provider. It's a Psychology Interjurisdictional Compact. So actually at this point, most states I can do telehealth to, but there's still a few states that I won't be able to talk to you by telehealth if you're physically located in those states. So you can either travel to a different state or, we can help you find somebody else that can see you that's licensed in that state. But there's actually probably a link on my website to the SIPACT map, PSY PACT, like PACT. There's like a map that has all the different states and if they're SIPACT, and like I said, most of them are now. So hey, that was the end. Thanks.